With Wealth for Life, there is a little bit of personal care.
We didn't go through the investing, and I don't think we would be where we are today.
I would never go to a bank directly again.
Let's do it together.
They're giving me more confidence.
We feel totally secure now.
It was just easy.
There's a capability there that we didn't even know we had.
Stressful wise, Anthony's always there.
After the first meeting, those fears were gone.
They make us comfortable before we made the next step to invest.
Who wants to work until they're 80? Seriously.
We actually have seen the benefits.
It's like nothing's changed, but we're getting wealthier every day.
They've laid out the plan out for the next 20 years and
looks great.
And I know exactly where I'm going.
They really are the real deal.
We feel included.
I'm able to retire at a very younger age.
We're in the process of building our dream home after 18 years being stuck in the one home.
Financial independence for us and for our children.
Build something for our son, Rocco.
And set up our kids' futures as well.
Set themselves up for life.
They were amazing.
So certainly will make a big difference to you.
They changed our lives.
We feel included.
Go to Wealth for Life. Full stop.
Hey guys, Anthony Peluso here, CEO and founder of Wealth for Life, and welcome to another exclusive event. Here we are in Melbourne, Australia, this Wednesday, 22nd of July, 2020. And the year just keeps getting more and more interesting, okay? Unless you've been living under a rock, well, or you're outside of Victoria. We're in our second week of lockdown. Was it phase 2 lockdown? Stage 3, something like that. Who knows if there's going to be a stage 4, and starting tomorrow, we all mask up. Curious to see what your mask is going to look like. Send them through to me, okay? I'm looking for a cool and clever mask to start wearing. Okay, so tonight's event's really about how we get the most out of 2020, okay? And it's going to be really reliant on your viewpoint, okay, and where you sit right now, because here we are halfway through the year. We can go back and talk about, what's been and what's come and gone over the last 6 months, and we'll spend a little bit of time on that. But more importantly is this is where you are right now, and you've really got two choices moving forward, all right? So we're going to talk about how to build a step-by-step system for creating wealth using property in 2020. Is it still possible to do so in 2020? Let's find out. All right, I'm going to cover a lot of information tonight. Now, I know we've got a lot of new viewers, and again, thank you so much. The amount of people that have registered for this event is quite incredible, and so there'll be a lot of you guys that wouldn't have seen our webinars before, so I'll go over a little bit about who I am, what we do here at Wealth for Life. Then we're going to cover a lot of information tonight, a lot of numbers, a lot of case studies. Please don't go out and make any financial decision or come to any conclusion based on the information I'm going to share with you over the next, say, hour or so, okay? Make sure you sit down with someone like myself or one of my staff here and get the proper advice, okay? The proper financial advice. Investing is phenomenal, and the lifestyle that you can have and create from it is incredible. The way that you can change your life, your ability to impact others way beyond yourself is second to none. But it's not a case of one size fits all, okay? So don't go out there and go doing anything without sitting down and getting the proper advice from a licensed advisor. All right. So why should you listen to us? Wealth for Life. We develop wealth solutions that work, and we're pretty good at it, okay? If you've seen the testimonials earlier on, and if you've spoken to our clients and had a look at our reviews, there's one thing we know, and that's how to create wealth from property. Probably, I should say, better than anyone else, okay? Wealth for Life is a fully integrated financial services and property investment organisation based out of Melbourne. We specialise helping Australians create financial freedom by building wealth through carefully selected investment solutions, okay? We've got just under 20,000 people that we've worked with. Of course, not all active, but the ones that are have done very, very well. A little bit about myself, okay? I've been doing this for about 20 years. Started from a coffee shop with one employee and a laptop computer, out of, I think it was, Princess Street, 1 Princess Street Q. Many, many years ago. No capital, no business loans, no safety net. Right now, I've got multiple business in this beautiful suburb of South Melbourne here in the middle of winter with an enormous staff and always on an expansion phase, okay? I've built a multi-million-dollar property portfolio using the information that I'm going to share with you guys tonight, okay? So I'm not someone that attends a lot of webinars or seminars, even though I do so, right? Because education is very important. You know, this is something that I've done, I'm continuing to do, am doing and continuing to do, okay? Investing is a very, very big part of my life. Helping others create wealth along with myself is a very important part of my life and a lot of who I am. So, you know, I've educated thousands of people all over Australia on how to build wealth using real estate as the vehicle. And the great thing is we've got a tested, tried and proven system that I put together many, many years ago that gives people predictable results. And I'm going to talk to you about investing versus speculating, okay? Because it's the one thing that a lot of people don't understand. Because investing has a predictable outcome, okay? So when you invest, done properly, there should be no guesswork, okay? So we've got a proven, tested system that gives predictable results, right? And one of the ways to best describe this is that after a while, you learn what not to do. You know what works, and more importantly, you know what doesn't work, okay? So I've purchased, developed, renovated, flipped, if you want to, there's such a word, you know, constructed thousands of properties for myself and our clients all over Australia, in excess of $1.8 billion worth of real estate, predominantly up the eastern seaboard of Melbourne, Sydney, and Queensland. Okay, 2 of those cities are great. One isn't. We'll talk about that in a little time. Spent well over $600,000 in self-education as well. So this is the thing. If you're like me, I didn't like the education I got in school. I really didn't do much with it, to be honest with you. Okay, so I had to go out there and educate myself on what it was like, on what it would, you know, what I needed to be successful in the real world. Okay. We'll talk about this a little bit later on as well. I am considered the expert in property investing when it comes to creating wealth, and we don't focus on just property investing, but wealth creation, because there is a difference, okay? Most property investors actually don't go past buying 1 or 2 properties, okay? I don't know if you know that, and that's because they focus on property as opposed to wealth creation, okay? I've got a book called The Journey of Riches, which I've got somewhere at the back there, which you can download online on Amazon. The thing I love most about what we do here at Wealth for Life is the lives that we've changed, hence Wealth for Life, right? Is the lives that we've changed for people. You know, if you talk to our clients and you look at where they started and where they are today and what they've achieved over a, 10, 15-year period, it's, sometimes I look at it and say, wow, that's too good to be true, right? But if you know what these people have gone through and where they came from, creating wealth, real estate investing, understanding money and finances can really change your life and that of your loved ones and the people that you care about the most, okay? You investors out there, you understand this, okay? So, have a listen to what we're going to talk about tonight, because we're in a very interesting state right now. Not state of Victoria, but we're in a very interesting state. The way I look at it right now, this could go either way the next 6 months, okay? There's a lot of noise out there. I'll hope to debunk some of that tonight, but there's a lot of noise out there right now. So your next move could be the most important move you actually make, all right? Okay, a little bit about our services here. Obviously, education, the thing that I'm most passionate about is educating others based on the 20 years experience that I've actually had. Financial planning, these are the services we offer here at Wealth for Life. Mortgage solutions, property advisory, accounting and taxation. Just got off the phone with one of our accountants earlier today, that our clients are now working with and doing very, very well with. Legal services, building and construction, and of course, where would you be without property management when it comes to investing? All right, so all available under the one roof here at Wealth for Life. Okay. So, how will you recall your 2020? Here's my view, all right? right now, a lot of us are looking back, or will look back at 2020 as probably the most devastating part of our life, the most devastating year of our life. I mean, it's ruined so many lives. And, you know, nobody could have predicted this heading into 2020 back in December last year, right? But here's the thing, guys, right? You're going to look back at this, and we're in 2020 right now, and you will look back at this, and you will tell your story more so than any other year. And you've got to ask yourself this question: are you going to blame the virus? Okay, are you going to blame the Chinese government, Donald Trump, Bill Gates, Daniel Andrews, Scott Morrison, your boss for not paying you more, or your boss for letting you go? Right? Being asked to stay at home, told to stay at home, the conspiracy theories, all the news that's going on right now, right? That's one option, right? But what are you going to tell your children when they ask you, right? Are you going to say that this was another year that was outside of your control? And here's the thing I want to share with you guys. This really all depends on your viewpoint. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. You know, it's your viewpoint. Right? You're not wrong and you're not right. It's just the way that you see the world. All right? Now, if you're looking through the lens of a TV screen, television, right? You'll probably see the world a certain way. All right? Question is, which viewpoint is going to enable you to better survive? Which viewpoint is going to enable you to win more in life? And which one brings you closer to your goals? Right? Because this is what I've noticed about people. There's actually only two types of people. Right? You're going to have the people that are purely focused on results, money, and success. These people see opportunities everywhere. And then you're going to have the people that just focus on excuses. They see a crisis everywhere. Okay? They'll either have a crisis at home, a crisis at work, a crisis with their finances, crisis with their family overseas, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the thing I'll tell you in my experience over the last 20 years, okay? What most people don't realize is you can't have both. You can't have results and excuses. Have a look at the people that are doing very well in all areas of life, not just financially. You'll find that these people have very few excuses when it comes to winning in life. And then if you have a look at the people that are struggling, because usually people struggling with money are actually struggling in all areas of life, and they'll give you nothing but excuses, okay? You know, people will tell you right now is not a good time to invest because, you know, you watched the news last night and the world's coming to an end and the property market's going to crash, okay? The same people, though, will actually tell you that when the market's booming and, they'll say that everything's overpriced and we're going to wait for the market to cool down before we invest. So these people never end up doing anything. And I do know some of these people personally. One person in particular, I won't mention her name because she's probably watching tonight. She's been waiting for 18 years. 18 years. She's still studying the market. Do you know what most people have accumulated financially over 18 years? Correct, right? They've retired. They've created enough wealth to pass on to after generation after generation after generation, while others will just give you excuses, right? In the end, the people that give you all the excuses, they'll have nothing purely based on the fact that they actually do nothing and just keep using excuses to justify their position. Right? You've got to decide right here, right now, in July 2020, what viewpoint you're going to adopt. Okay? Because the reality is, you've probably already decided on what that viewpoint is because it's the way you've been living life well before COVID-19. And this is the thing about the situation we're in right now, right? Most people, COVID-19 and this whole coronavirus thing has really exposed people financially right now, okay? Most people were getting by. They only needed one major catastrophe, be it a global financial crisis of some sort or, the pandemic that we're going through right now, and bang, they're out of the game, all right? So have a look at what you're experiencing right now and what you're learning. Because if you don't take anything out of this current experience, believe me, this will happen again. Okay, most people are already predicting there's another one on the way. You're going to be doomed to repeat the same mistakes and the same experience. So if you don't like what you're getting right now, you need to do something about it. Closing your eyes, ignoring it, staying at home, watching Netflix, ordering Uber Eats ain't going to work. All right? So remember back in 2008, for those of you that were around, right, or can remember, the following companies started when we had the global financial crisis, okay? Markets all over the world crashed based on, I won't get into what happened with the global financial crisis out of America predominantly around 2008, 2009, right? So you had Airbnb, WhatsApp, Instagram, Venmo, which is now owned by PayPal, Cladera, Groupon, Uber, and Pinterest. These are all organizations, companies that were started during a crisis. Now, do you think these guys, the owners of these companies, do you think they saw opportunity, or do you think they saw a crisis? Whilst they may have been in a state of a crisis, let's say, or in a certain situation, they were able to see past that, and they were able to see what most people couldn't see. Have a look at the size of these organizations right now, right? So they saw money whilst others saw nothing. They saw billions whilst others saw no money. Even over the last few days, right, I've got a coffee shop that we go to out in Elwood. And I know those guys there have been doing it tough, right? Given that, they've had to open, close, change their environment around to suit takeaway and so on and so on. But, these guys saw an opportunity when it got announced, I think on the weekend, that you now it's compulsory to wear masks. Bang, make a mask for $3, sell it for $25. Okay? Another example of seeing opportunity during a crisis. Now, I don't know if anyone's going to pay I don't know if I'm going to pay $25 for a mask, but I can tell you a lot of people actually did. And I keep looking at their social media page, and they're continually telling us that they're out of masks. So, they were given, lemon, and they made lemonade, right? I think it's something like that, right? So the most important thing is to really understand what viewpoint you're going to adopt, because it will dictate where you end up moving forward, okay? And it'll probably, for some of you right now, if you've dictated to have a viewpoint that the world's going to end and I have no control over my outcome, it's probably not a good idea you continue watching this webinar, to be brutally honest with you. Those of you that really want to do well in 2020 and beyond, keep watching, because there's some great news ahead. So let's have a look at who's done really well so far out of 2020. You got Netflix, right? I got to tell you, I didn't understand Netflix much. What we get in Australia here versus what we get in America, I think is quite different. And but 22.5 million new subscribers in the last 6 months. Right, that's a 27% increase in revenue. Zoom, Wayfair, Nintendo, Amazon, Spotify, Uber Eats, and pretty much anyone that's got a really good online business is doing very, very well in the current environment, okay? Because if you look, people are staying at home right now, or being asked to stay at home. So what do people do when they actually stay at home, right? So businesses have understood this and have adopted the way that they change very, very quickly. Okay, so this is what, we're going to get into real estate now and investing, all right? This is what most of us have bought into for a very, very, very long time, okay? Like most parts of the world, Australia and people living in Australia don't pay a lot of attention to financial well-being, right? Again, coronavirus has actually exposed this right now, okay? It's left a lot of people scratching their head and ruining the decisions that they've made in the past, right? Too many people in this country take the should be right approach, right? Just go through life working 9 to 5, 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year for the next 40 years, right, straight out of school, magically thinking that somebody is going to look after them when they stop working. Because this is what we're taught in school, right? And hey, I went to school like everybody else, right? I didn't learn much. But what I did learn was that you go to school to be an employee. Now, again, I have nothing against working for somebody else and being an employee, okay? This is not what it's about. But what I am here to share with you is that alone won't make it for you, okay? You won't get by if that's the only thing you do, okay? So, you get taught in school to work for somebody else, to not ask questions, to do as you're told, to listen to the government, to listen to the teachers, to listen to your doctors, to listen to your parents. Don't ask a lot of questions. Fly underneath the radar. Don't make a lot of noise. Work real hard. Take your 4 weeks off a year. Go on your little holiday and vacation. Buy your nice home with a picket fence. Have your 2.5 kids, a dog and a cat. And the government will look after you when you stop working. Hey, that's what I was told. That's what my parents were told. That's what my parents told me. And I know from talking to a lot of you out there, it's exactly the same thing you were told. So when a guy like me or a company like me comes along, it's sometimes very unreal to a lot of people. And when you look at the financial success that our clients have had, it can sometimes be too good to be true for a lot of people. The crazy thing is, this information, this knowledge, this know-how has been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. The thing is, you never got it in school and you looked nowhere else other than school. So the education you got in school is where you are, is based, that's taken you where you are today. And you've probably worked out by now it's not enough and there's something missing. All right? So working 9 to 5 and doing just that isn't enough, okay? Because when you stop working, the money stops coming in, okay? And this is why 94% of Australians retire well below the poverty line by the time they stop working at the age of 65. And they don't find out till they're approaching their 60s. They understand that for the first time, they realise how superannuation works, how much they've got in super, what the pension's all about. And they realise, damn, all I did was work 9 to 5, work hard, but I didn't really come up for any air or take a break or get any advice. And here I am having to think about life after work, and I've suddenly realised that I don't have enough to stop working. Superannuation isn't what I thought it would be. The pension is nowhere near what I need to survive. And here I am at the age of 60, approaching retirement. Because at that age, banks don't want to know you, insurance companies don't want to know you, and sadly, most of the employers will want to exit you because they can replace you with somebody younger and much cheaper. This, getting to the age of 60 is not the time you want to be watching a webinar like this. It's freaking depressing. And I've had people come in here at that age, and we can't help them. And to be quite honest with you, not a lot of people can. Because it's actually, things are stacked up against you at that age, right? And you want, and it's interesting because, you look at wealth creation and anything that's outside the traditional education system is actually considered a scam, right? If you didn't learn about it in school or university or college, it's not seen as traditional education. So most people discard it or call it a scam. The reality is people fear what they don't understand. I'll say that again. What you don't understand, you will always discard and be fearful of. The funny thing is, for a lot of entrepreneurs, all they've ever known is your non-traditional education, financial literacy. That's all they've ever known because they pulled out of school at the age of 15 or 16. The biggest scam of all is getting to that point in your life where you realize time has beaten you, it's now your enemy, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Okay? And we see people that actually come into our organization, come and see us. begging us for help, and we have to turn them away because we don't have any services or products that somebody can start using at the age of 60, especially if they're not prepared to work till 85. Come on, guys, we all love our job, right? We all love working, okay? What's work, right? A purpose, an activity with purpose, right? But till the age of 85 because you have to, you're no longer doing it for love. You're doing it out of necessity. All right? So you don't want to hear about this information when it's too late. All right? So some things that you need to think about right here, right now. Okay? Because we're going to cover them off in some future slides. Think about your desired income, okay? Whilst I'm going through the next few slides, I want you guys listening right now, think about a desired income, because I'm going to ask you some questions very soon that'll make a lot more sense if you understand what your desired income is at the time you stop working, right? Ask yourself, are you getting a pay rise each year, okay? Have you factored in inflation, right? If you're like me, you understand that everything around us right now is becoming more and more expensive. What did I hear today? I heard somebody selling some company is selling face masks for $250. Priceline. You got to be kidding me, right? I'll take my chances. So things around us are becoming more and more expensive, okay? So you need to understand how to handle that, especially if you're not getting, if your work income isn't increasing at the rate it needs to keep up with that, all right? So creating wealth in uncertain times. Opportunity always has and always will favor the prepared mind, okay? Number one, don't buy into this fear and panic. No great decisions come out of fear and panic, okay? Turn the news off, okay? I stopped watching the news, again, my viewpoint, okay? I stopped watching the news about 6 years ago, and my life's been incredible. I actually haven't been sick in about 6 years. Okay, funny about that. Watch how you spend your time. Watch what you put into your mind, what you put into your head, okay? And then what you walk away with, right? The media, most of the time, in my experience, and we're not going to get into conspiracy theories here or anything like that, okay? But from my own observation, not yours, mine, very rarely do they get it right, and in most times, actually not telling you the truth. They have their own agenda, which is ratings. And this is the thing. You ever notice that bad news seems to travel much, much faster than good news? I started feeling depressed at some point watching the news. Every article on the news was the same thing. A car crash here, a death over here, a bomb over here, a travesty over there, a tragedy over there. And here comes the weather. Come to the sports report, my football team's getting flogged. And then they couldn't even get the weather right at the end. Something I actually don't need to hear, okay? If you're looking to create wealth in uncertain times, you need to get ahead of the game. You need to be in front of the curve, all right? Any decision or any indecision or any delays right now are going to get punished, okay? If you're looking to create wealth, right now, delaying or not making a decision, right, is going to work against you. And I'll tell you why in a minute, right? Your finances right now, you need to be very, very disciplined with your finances. I'm setting you up now for how to take advantage of the current environment and how to create wealth in uncertain times. Your finances, your incomes and expenditure, you need to be disciplined in that area. No irregular activity, missed or skipped payments. Your documentation needs to be up to date. Financial documentation needs to be up to date and easily accessible. Eliminate consumer and non-deductible debt like credit cards, personal loans, HEX fees, and so on. Right now, most banks are experiencing some significant delays in just assessing your application, okay? Anywhere from 15 to 30 days, even before they look at an application that your broker or your financier submitted into them, right? So your finance needs to be in order, approved, right? Your deposits ready, your structure in place, so when opportunity presents itself, you're ready to strike. Because one of the things we've been able to do very, very well for our clients, for most part of this year actually, is set them up financially. Okay, it's part of a bigger plan, a part of a whole investment strategy, right? But the first step is obviously education. The second step is getting your finances in order. Now, when you've set yourself up financially, and by financial I mean you've got your finances approved, your deposits in place, your structures in place, you know your interest rates, you know what the next 5 years looks like, you're ready to go shopping. Who do you think a vendor is going to listen to? A person that's cashed up, deposit ready to go, no subject to finance that can close in 14 days, versus someone who has to put onto a contract of sale, subject to finance, 60-day settlement, not sure where I can get finance. Who's a vendor going to listen to? You know, your chances are far, far enhanced of negotiating great terms and conditions and price if you're in a position where you can act fast, right? So this is what we're doing with a lot of our clients right now, is setting them up financially so when the opportunities show up, and by the way, the opportunities are everywhere, excuse me, guys, we're in a position to act on our clients' behalf very, very fast and put them in an amazing position financially right at the start, all right? So your finances need to be in order. This is what sophisticated investors are doing right now. They're going out cleaning up because they've got financial certainty, okay? They're collecting deals, making deals, getting great terms and conditions because they can close real fast and give the vendor, the owner, certainty. And in 2020, everyone is looking for certainty, all right? Not just you as a buyer or a purchaser or an investor, but even vendors, all right? And there's no great deal unless both people win, all right? So wealth for life, you know, it's funny. So I might get a hanky, guys. Wealth for life over the last 6 months, we've been able to negotiate, you know, purchases of anywhere from $40,000 to $70,000 below market value. Okay, so that comes about by having our clients ready and ready, willing, and able, and ready to strike when opportunities show up. Okay, so make sure you're positioning yourself to take advantage of opportunities. Right. Remember that in uncertain times, right, create certain opportunities, but you need to be paying attention, and you need to be prepared. So pay attention to what's going on and be prepared and flip the uncertainty into certainty, okay? It's easily done if you know what you're doing, all right? It's like that thing, right? You know, I've even noticed in my business, thanks Lee. I've even noticed in my business, right, the more prepared you are right now in 2020, the more you can take advantage of the opportunities out there. Don't expect to be the last guy at the dance and pick up the hot chick. It's not going to happen, right? You need to get in there early. You need to be prepared, you need to be planning, you need to do your homework. And when the opportunities show up, because you know where to look, you can strike and take advantage of them whilst other people are still trying to figure out what's going on. This is the key to success in 2020. Come prepared, do your homework, okay? Because again, vendors are looking for certainty, okay? We finalized our last, what I call crazy deal today. Customer purchased, or a client purchased 6 months ago, okay? Wasn't ready, did her own finance, wasn't actually ready. And it was hell trying to get this thing settled, all right? Trying to close on the deal because of all the turmoil that's gone on with the property markets and more so the finance markets. So, I realized today more than anything else, you've got to be prepared and you've got to show up and have done your planning, all right? So this is what the 6% of Australians are doing right now for the months and the years ahead, okay? Most Australians are out there fighting over toilet paper, rushing out buying toilet paper, whilst the smart investors right now are gearing themselves up for financial freedom and the next 5 years, because the next 5 years are very, very interesting. So the property market, 2020 and beyond. Okay, so the stimulus packages right now are being offered by the government to lessen the impact of this pandemic that's currently in place. Okay, you would have all seen that and heard about that. Jobs are being protected by government subsidies. Businesses support packages are keeping people employed. Okay, I think just yesterday they announced a restructured JobKeeper. I won't go into that, guys. You can look it up. It's all over the news. Okay, I think they're extending it to March 2021, reducing the payments for full-time and a little bit less for part-timers, all right? Interest rates remain an all-time low. I think it's 1969 since interest rates were this low, right? I don't think they're going to drop anymore, but they're not going to make any movement either, moving up in the next 4 to 5 years, all right? Banks are providing mortgage relief for people that can't handle their mortgage repayments, okay? I think there's they're doing that for up to 6 months. Just be careful with that, guys. So many people thought that they're actually getting a free ride. Not really. It's like kicking the can down the road. At some point, the interest that you haven't been paying on your mortgage, the banks are going to come calling at some point. So think twice as to whether that's a move you want to make. It's now quickly becoming a buyer's market. It's quickly becoming right now a seller's market. All right. Property under the $750,000 mark right now because of the stimulus packages is moving very, very, very quickly. So vendors, developers, agents are encouraging their buyers, their sellers, their vendors, to put prices up under that $750,000 price range point because there's an enormous amount of activity, especially from first homeowners, okay? If you're a property investor and you're investing in that price bracket, you're also going to do well because you're going to leverage off the growth that these first homeowners are actually, pushing up right now. The one thing, though, I will tell you, developers right now are finding it very tough to get funding from banks, so a lot of their projects aren't getting off the ground. In about 12 months' time, that's going to create an issue with regards to supply. So I want you guys to really pay attention to that. We're going to move to an environment where there's going to be very, very low. It was actually going to happen a little bit earlier, but given what's happened with 2020, it's probably another 12 months away where you're going to find a very low supply of stock in the market and a very, very strong demand, which again is going to push property prices up. All right. Now, again, owner-occupiers are continuing to drive the market as they always have been. They make up 70% of purchases out there or occupancy. Investors play a very, very small part in the real estate space in Australia. No more than 30% generally. So, based on my research that I've done and what's happening around the world, and looking at the monetary policy that Reserve Bank of Australia has in place right now, and our key industries and the moves that our governments are making, property prices in this country, I'm predicting, are going to do extremely well between the year 2021 and 2025-26. Okay? I'm not going to I could spend a whole hour just talking about the reasons behind this, but if you've studied the past and you know how to follow trends, what's happening with the share market, what's happening with companies and countries all over the world, it's actually very, very easy to predict. Okay? We actually always knew that 2018, 19, 20 was actually going to be a little bit iffy. But 21 to 25, for those of you that are experienced investors and understand trends and follow patterns and economic activity, you guys are already in place to take advantage of the next 5 years, okay? Don't be hitting the property market in 2021, okay? Because you'll just end up paying retail. The smart guys are buying right now when everybody else is locked at home. All right? So, I remember saying back in 2011, 2012, that we were going to have a really good time between 2012, 2018. And for our clients out there that are watching and that invested with us, you guys know how well you've done over the last 8 years. So, learn to interpret current events so that you can forecast future events and make money from it, okay? Really, really important. The information is out there if you know what to look for, where to look for it, and how to interpret it, okay? It's actually sitting right under your nose, all right? So, why will most people lose in 2020? All right? Here's the thing, and it's not really about 2020, but 2020 is really going to magnify this right now. Most people have no idea what a great investment opportunity looks like. We see people coming to really irrational decisions in these irrational times, okay? And when you look at it, their behavior is actually, again, a pattern that they've been exhibiting for many, many, many years, okay? You know, if you study history, the media very rarely gets it right when it comes to property forecasting, okay? I mean, I've got articles that date back to 1987, you know, where, you know, for those of you that have followed our webinars and, you know, I give you that graph of what the property market's done over the last 60 years, very rarely does the media get it right, okay? They're not there to report good news. The media is purposely there to keep you in fear. Why? Because you're easier to be controlled. Like, these guys can't even get the weather right. Okay, and I'm not having a shot at the media. Look for yourself. Go look for yourself. The information's there for everybody to look at, okay? If you study the markets and you understand trends and you have a look at what the media said about the property market over the last 60 years, have a look at what the media said and what actually happened to the property market, okay? The thing is too, most people, why they get it wrong is they invest in what's familiar. Okay, most people will invest in the suburb where they live in, okay, because it's familiar, right? Or they'll listen to friends that have purchased, peer group pressure, you know, or, you know, they'll do something just through fear of missing out. And this is hardly the criteria that you put in place when it comes to creating wealth, okay? Just because you live in a certain suburb, it doesn't mean that it's a great place to invest in, all right? Most people do very little or no research, and if they do, the data and the information they get is flawed, so they don't know how to interpret it, and they don't know how to use it to their advantage. You know, it's funny, you know, when we talk to people, most people spend more time planning the weekend ahead than their financial future. I know you know what I'm talking about out there, right? We put so much into what we're doing on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that we forget about our financial well-being, right? You know, most people never even get off the ground because all they do is complain about not having enough time. They're too busy right now with work. And here's the question I always ask people, like, why are you working to start off with? Most of you are going to work, what? Just so you can get an income, right? It's the one thing that we try and help you achieve: financial independence, passive cash flow, passive income. And you use work as the reason not to look at it. Why? Because you're making money. Money that you have to trade time for. Kind of crazy, right? The one thing you want the most is the one thing that we're trying to help you with. Yet you're too busy engaged in day-to-day life. All right? You just need to pay attention to this, because this is the mistake that a lot of people make. You know, if money wasn't a problem, what would you be doing with your life right now? For most of you, I know you wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now. So think about it. If there was another way to generate income into your household, what freedom would you actually have? Because the thing is this: you don't want the income. You actually want the freedom that comes from having the income. Does that make sense? Okay. So again, one of the mistakes that people make is they'll go purchasing without a plan. They have no financial plan in place. They've got no strategy, no buying criteria, and they hope for the best. I'll cover this in a little bit more detail in a minute, right? They're also going out there right now, especially with all these government grants and that are being offered, and people are just going out there buying just for the sake of buying because they don't want to miss out, right? Most people get it wrong. They get their finance strategy wrong, the finance that they apply for all wrong. They're interest rate focused, right? So they'll purchase the wrong properties and it'll eventually attract the wrong tenants, okay? One thing I'll tell you guys, right? Interest rates are important, but interest rates are a very, very short-term view. If all you're focused on is interest rates, I can tell you, you've got a very short-term view of real estate investing, creating wealth. The sophisticated, smart investors, that's the last thing they look at, because they understand if they can get access to money, they know how to make that money work for them far, far greater than the cost of getting that money. All right, so I really want you to think about that, okay? There's things that are much, much more important. Your ability to borrow and continue to borrow is much, much more important than the interest rate you're being charged. Do the math between a 3% to 4% interest rate, right? And then ask yourself, hey, if I can get access to $500,000, how hard can I make that work? Right? Can I get 30 to 40% return on my money? Do I care that I'm paying an extra 1 or 2%? Okay, just watch how you interpret the game of wealth creation, okay? Interest rates are nothing more than a distraction. Banks are very, very clever, and again, I'll talk about that in a minute, right? They are very, very clever in distracting you with interest rates, okay? It's the last thing you want to be looking at as an investor. Who cares what the interest rate is if you can't borrow any money, all right? So, investing done correctly gives you a predictable outcome. I'll say that again because most people don't understand this. There's no guesswork when it comes to investing if you do it properly. Speculating gives you hope, or all you're focused on is hope and guesswork. Okay, you kind of think you're doing it right, but you don't really know. You're getting some advice from different people. You're going to take a gamble because you need to, but you don't really know where you're going to end up. Okay, that's not an investment strategy. Okay. Just keep in mind, guys, that it becomes very expensive to undo mistakes in the game of real estate. Very expensive. I know. My first purchase. Here we go. Here's probably something you would never expect me to say. My first purchase in the beautiful suburb of Yarraville cost me $69,000 straight down the toilet. All right. Do you think I learned something from that? All right. And this is after attending all these webinars and all these seminars and doing all this knowledge. And my first purchase, I lost $69,000. Not proud of it, but did it stop me from moving forward? Of course not. All right. So again, even guys like myself have made mistakes in this area. So I understand what works and what doesn't work. Okay. For me as an investor right now, as a wealth creator, there's really no guesswork. For me, it's like a game of dominoes, right? If I just hit the first domino, I know exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to roll. All right, so right now you're being told to stay at home, don't go out, wear a mask, and give up what most of us have taken for granted all our lives, which is freedom, our freedoms, and our liberties, right? So my advice to you guys, even if you're working from home, all right, you can still change the world, still change your environment, still change your financial well-being from the comfort of your own home, okay? Don't give up and don't think that this is outside of your control, okay? All right, so we're going to go to our first slide for the night. The real cost of buying a house in 2020. So with all these government grants and incentives right now, they're creating a massive demand for home ownership, right? You've got stamp duty savings, the $25,000 builder boost, the first home owners grant, the deposit scheme, and so on and so on. So it's actually becoming much, much easier for people to get in to own their first home. But there's a couple of things that you need to be paying attention to, which I know a lot of people aren't. Most of you guys right now, and I'm talking about, the 26 to 36-year-olds that are for the first time having the opportunity to buy their own home. You're not doing enough research, guys. You're going in this a little bit too blindly, okay? You need to look at your mortgage repayments. You need to understand the maintenance cost and the cost of upkeep of having your own home, water rates, council rates. These are things that most people aren't paying attention to. And again, they're getting distracted by the fact that they don't have to pay any stamp duty under a certain price point and that the government's giving them pretty much all the deposit they actually need. All right, so pay attention to the details when it comes to buying your own home, okay? So there's a lot to take into account. If you have a look at the slide there on the screen right now, have a look at whether, this actually is the right move for you to make. Even though it's so attractive right now to get into your own home, have a look at if this is the right move you need to be making right now. Right? Is it really the first thing or the best purchase you make right now? See, the thing with buying your own home first, it's emotionally driven, okay? The banks understand this, okay, and they've wrapped up home ownership and mortgages on your first home. They've wrapped emotion up into this. You have a look at all the marketing and all the ads that the banks put out, right? It's never about making money. It's about getting you emotionally attached into your own home. Why? Because they make a freaking fortune off you, right? Your mum and dad tell you to go buy your own home. And for a lot of you guys right now, the only reason you're buying your own home is you don't know any better. It's what your mum and dad did, and it's what their mum and dad did, and their mum and dad did. So it just becomes the logical move for you to get into your own home. But I've always questioned whether that's actually the first thing you should be doing. You know, I think I had quite a few investment properties under my belt before I bought my own home. And it enabled me to actually almost buy my own home outright. So just have a look at whether it's the best move you need, whether it's the right move you need to be making right now. You know, your own home, when you're home ownership takes money out of your pocket, right? Your own home won't put money in your pocket, right? Because as long as you're living in there, it's not producing an income. In fact, some people would actually call it a liability for that reason. When it comes to investing, though, the right investment strategy puts money into your pocket. Your own home is non-deductible debt. Investing in real estate becomes deductible debt. And banks make it very, very attractive, as does our government. You notice how our governments never provide any incentives to investors, and banks really don't give you any special treatment for investors. They don't make money off investors. That's why. Banks and our governments make a hell of a lot of money off owner-occupiers. All right. Banks and finance. Let me ask you guys a question out there. Why do you put your money in the bank? Think about that answer, okay? Why do you keep your money in the bank? Banks know why you do it. Do you know why you keep your money in the bank? You know, if you have a look at it, it's just pure marketing. Banks spend a fortune on advertising, right, and marketing to get the money out of your pocket and into their pocket, right? If you remember, even growing up as a kid, right, you were told to put your money in a piggy bank, right? Save, put your money in a piggy bank. So why do banks want your money so badly, okay? A lot of us still don't understand how banks operate, right? They take your money, right, your deposit, right, term deposit, whatever you want to call it. They're only obliged or obligated to keep, I think it's 10 cents of every dollar that you give them. They go borrow and they go lend and invest the other 90 cents in the dollar. So these guys are charging you 5%. So, you know, you go and put money into a bank, right? And they give you, 1% right now. If you're lucky in a term deposit, it's probably much less than that. I then go borrow it at, say, 3%, 4%, and the banks make the money in the middle, right? That's their only revenue stream, right? Along with, establishment fees and so forth. But banks don't carry any assets. Okay, they basically take money from over here, whether they borrow it from you, the depositor, or from global markets, buy it cheap, get it cheap off you guys, lend it out to investors, homeowners like myself, and take the bit in the middle. You need to think like banks think. Okay, the game of wealth creation isn't about real estate. Okay. It's about how to get money from over here and get it to work for you, right? You need to become the bank. Don't borrow money from the bank. Get to a point in your life where you're not borrowing money from the bank, but you actually are the bank, where you're lending money out, right, and getting your money to earn or to create more money, like multiplying your money. Okay, this is why you need to invest. So your money goes out and creates more money and works harder and harder, and you get that compound effect, all right? So one of the things you need to understand how to do right now is also negotiate very, very hard with banks, right? Because the more you borrow, the more you can negotiate. Now, a lot of people think that they can't negotiate with banks. That's not true, okay? We have a very, very clever way, a little bit cheeky, but a very, very clever way that we negotiate with the banks. And in most cases, we get our clients exactly what they want. And I'm not just talking about interest rates, okay? But you need to understand the politics within banks, right? Within the branch, within each bank, and how they work, because there's a wholesale and a retail arm, right? Some banks are looking to keep you. Some people in the bank are looking to keep you. Some don't care. have a look at how they get remunerated, okay? It's very political. And if you know how to use that to your advantage and play them off one another, you'll get the right outcome, all right? But you need to understand how banks work, okay? So we talked about interest rates are nothing more than a decoy and always have been, okay? Don't focus on interest rates. There's a bigger picture to have a look at than just interest rates, okay? So learn how to work with mortgage brokers as well, okay? Very important. The thing with mortgage brokers, about 10 years ago, these guys, I've got to say, they used to work so much harder than what they do right now. Now, it's not a kick in the guts to mortgage broker. I've got my own mortgage brokering business here, right? But most mortgage brokers will only use lenders that they're accredited with or lenders that pay them the most commission, especially right now. So here's what you probably don't know. Most mortgage brokers are accredited with 30 plus lenders, but you find that they only ever use 2 or 3 lenders, okay? That may not necessarily be the best option or the best lender for you, right? So you need to understand how to use mortgage brokers, right? And the reality is with mortgage brokers right now, like most businesses, they don't have enough resources. Their commissions are being cut quite significantly from where they were 5 years ago. And, you know, they're time poor. So they'll get the best they think they can get from the lender that they've always done business with and pass that on to you. All right? But you've got to understand, again, how to negotiate and use mortgage brokers to your advantage. Don't just take the first thing they give you, and don't think that that's the best deal you're going to get. Right? Many times I get something from a mortgage broker, and I'll basically say, no, you've done all the work. Thank you. I understand that, but I'm not taking this deal. I'm going elsewhere. Within an hour, they come back with a better deal. Okay? You've got to understand how to use mortgage brokers. You've got to understand how they work and how to use them to your advantage. Okay? So, as I said, it's really about not needing the bank, but becoming the bank. Moving money around so that you can make more money in the process. That's the name of the game. It's not property. It's about money. All right? Okay, let's move on to our next slide. I love this. I love this slide. Non-leveraged assets, cash, versus leveraged assets, real estate. Now, people ask me, how do you turn $30,000 into $3 million? We've been doing this for clients for well over 10 years. Again, if you look at the slide, have a look at $30,000 parked into a bank account. Now, let's assume for some crazy reason that you're going to get a 5% return on your money, okay? If you look at that $30,000 parked in cash, compounding at 5% per annum over 20 years, you'll end up with $79,500. That's very simple. Just keep the money in there for 20 years at 5%, and that's what you end up with. Now, imagine if you took that $30,000 and parked it into property. You put in $30,000, bank gives you 90%, $570,000, and you go out and pick up a $600,000 property. Now, if we just work off the same 5%, after 20 years, that $30,000 has turned into $1.5 million. Okay? Growing at the same rate, just parked into a different asset. Now, if we look at a more realistic figure when it comes to real estate, if you had $30,000 parked in a bank and, God help me, you found a bank that gave you 8.5% per annum on that money, you get $153,000 over a 20-year period. Just leave the money in there, accumulate the interest, and then keep earning interest on top of interest over a 20-year period, okay? Now, you took that same $30,000 and parked it into a really good piece of real estate, okay? $600,000, bank gives you $570,000, you put $30,000 of your cash in there, cash, equity, whatever you want to call it. Growing at an 8.5% rate over a 20-year period would give you over $3 million, okay? Yes, I know that there's interest along the way and there's, purchase costs and exit fees and so on and so on. Okay, but no one's going to complain about putting in, coming up with $30,000 if you can turn it into $3 million over a 20-year period. And this is a simple example, a very simple slide. And our clients are doing this in a more sophisticated way, getting a much faster result as well. This is just a real simple buy and hold approach, and just having your money compound. But this is the power of real estate, right? If you look at that example on the right here, $30,000 sitting in a bank is it's not leveraged, okay? All we've done when we put it into real estate is leveraged it. We've used something small, 30,000, to attract something big. Definition of leverage, right? Using something small to move something big, $570,000. We've attracted that, gone out and purchased a $600,000 property. On the cash side, we've got a return on our cash. But on the right-hand side, the property, we've got a return on the value of the asset, not the $30,000. Would you rather have $30,000 growing at 8.5% or $600,000 growing at 8.5%? Very simple concept, I know, but something that a lot of people still don't understand to this day. Okay? This is the power of compound. This is the power of leverage. Probably the most important word when it comes to investing is leverage. How do you get a little bit of your money and attract and pull in as much money as you can from the bank? Use it for a period of time to achieve your goal, your purpose, and then give it back to them. All right? So, putting all this together. So these are the 3 stages of wealth creation that I've used all my life and that I use for our clients. Okay, number 1, you need to set up a really good foundation. The most important part of a foundation is putting a plan in place. Okay, and with a plan comes the right people. I, to this day, have a shitload of people around me as part of my wealth creation strategy because I've understood that I can't do this on my own. Okay, I need the accountants, I need the solicitors, I need the mortgage brokers, I need the developers, I need all the people around me to help me get to where I want to, and my staff, of course, right? To help me get to where I want to get to much, much faster. Okay, because what I don't know, I don't want to spend 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years trying to understand it. Because I understand what I do understand is time and how valuable my time is. If I can call my accountant and get the information I want on the new tax act that's about to come out, I'll give him a call, spend 5 minutes on the phone with him and get what I need and make an informed and accurate decision, as do our clients, okay? If I want to find out what the banks are doing, I'll call, my guys in the bank, or I'll call my mortgage brokers, or I'll go to my guy in here. You need to have really good people around you, okay? You'll get to where you want to get to much, much faster. For those guys out there that are working 9 to 5, and you want to do this part-time, good luck. I actually tried that when I first started. I realized that even the guys that do this full-time don't know it all, and they're always beating me to the punch, okay? Wealth creation is not a part-time deal. You want a part-time deal, you'll get part-time results, okay? Don't complain about the results you never got based on the work you never put in, okay? This is a full-time gig. If you don't have the time to do it, you need to work with people that have the time to do it, that have got a proven track record, all right? Especially if you're getting a little bit on in life, okay? So set up a really good foundation, have the right team around you, handle all the risk, all the things that have stopped you from getting into the game in the past. Confront that, handle that up front. Number 1, what if I lose my job? Number 2, what if I can't find a tenant? Number 3, what if interest rates go up? Number 3, what if I pass away? Number 4, number 5, handle all the stuff that's been churning around in your head that stopped you from getting into this game. Okay, that's what we do. We bring all that to the table and we show you how to handle that. And you'll actually find out a lot of it isn't as scary as you first thought. Look at things like legal structures, purchasing entities, okay? Should you be buying real estate in a trust? Should you be buying it in your own name? Should you be buying tenants in common? Should you be buying it in a company, superannuation fund? Okay, they all have their pros and cons. Okay, so you need to understand what's right for you based on where you want to end up. And what's right for you may not necessarily be right for somebody else. Okay, have a really good team of mastermind people around you. Okay, experts in their field. Okay, I pay a lot of money to have the best of the best surrounding me. Okay, so I can just make decisions fast. Okay, the money that I pay them is nowhere near the money that these guys help me make, okay? Tax minimization, all right? Is that a dirty word? Tax structuring. tax benefits. Because we all love to pay our fair share of tax, right? Guys, if you're going to create the wealth, you need to know where the money goes. Okay, you're going to work your backside off working for it. You better know where it's going, and you better know how it's being used. And you know what? Like most things in life, you can control the outcome. Okay? All right, step number 2. Once we've set up the foundation, we've got the goal setting and the plan in place, we start accumulating. We start stacking the assets on top of each other, and we do it in a very scientific way. Okay, there's no guesswork. You come to Wealth for Life. One thing I will tell you guys, there is no guesswork. There are no maybes. There are no probabilities. We'll tell you straight. Okay? Hey, you know what? We may actually say that we can't help you. In fact, for probably a lot of people out there right now, we actually can't. But we're not going to dick you around. All right? We'll show you where you'll end up in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Okay? If we can help you. And there'll be no guesswork there. And for those of you that we can't or that we don't want to, here's the reality, guys. When we may not be a right fit for you, you may not be a right fit for us, but we'll come to that decision very, very quickly. All right? But once you've got the foundation in place, start accumulating the assets, start stacking up the assets, be it real estate, be it shares, be it managed funds, direct shares, whatever you want to call it, right? Because there's more than just real estate out there, okay? Different asset classes serve a different purpose for different people in different times of their lives, all right? So let's not get into this shares are better than property and property are better than shares and so forth, okay? The second richest man in the world, Warren Buffett, he's a share player, okay? Actually, he's a business player, but don't get into that. They all serve their purpose, all right? So foundation, set up the right foundation, then start your what we call the accumulation phase, which is the middle, right? I think I said it earlier on. There's a start, middle, and end, right? And then preserve your position. So once you've achieved your goal, right, there's a fair amount of, buying your time, right, that's involved. Preserve your position, preserve what you've created, and then we start what we call a debt reduction and a debt elimination strategy, all right? Because you want to get out of this debt-free. All right. So, money sitting under your nose every day. Here are the 4 factors I've used for the last 15 years when it comes to purchasing real estate. Okay? Well, there's more than 4 factors, but I'll give you the main 4. The must-haves. Number 1, employment. This is more at a macro level, okay? You want to be investing where there's a ton of employment. Why? Because where there's work, there's people. People go where the work is. All right? Now, again, I'm going to give you my view, and it's contrary to what a lot of other people are telling you out there, but I'm going to stick to it. You know why? Because it's worked. If you're looking to create wealth from real estate, Melbourne and Sydney, Victoria and New South Wales, that's it. Okay, I've been in this game long enough. Okay, why? Because it's where the employment is and it's where the population goes. Okay, if you look at all the top 200 organizations, top 200, blue listed companies in Australia, blue chip companies in Australia, all their head offices are either in Melbourne and Sydney. Okay, your Telstras, your Rio Tintos, your Mobiles, your Optus, all the big guys, right? That's where the work is. That's where the people go. So people will move their life around for employment. Okay, so that's at a macro level. At a micro level, you want real estate where there's really good infrastructure. And by infrastructure, I mean train station, access to major arterials and freeways, schools, retail, cafe strips. Here's the one thing that people will pay a premium for if you understand behavior. More so than ever, and that's conveniency. I get to charge a premium for my rents, and when I end up selling property, I've got property that I can charge a premium for, purely based on the fact that it provides conveniency for the next purchaser. And that's what you need to be looking at, okay? Existing infrastructure is nothing more than being able to provide conveniency, okay? And then you've got planned infrastructure. Now, this is where the advanced investor plays very, very, very well. They're able to see what most people don't see. Kind of reminds me of a movie. I think it's called Caddyshack. I'm revealing my age here. Rodney Dangerfield, John Candy. I saw it 40 years ago or something like that. And they're sitting on, actually playing golf, sitting on top of a mountain playing golf. And I think it's John Candy that says to the guy he's playing with, "What do you see out there?" Now, they're on a golf course, right? And the guy says, "Oh, I see grass. I see just greenery and lots of grass and more, and more golf." He said, "Yeah, okay." He goes, "What do you see?" He goes, "I see infrastructure. I see buildings. I see communities. I see society. I see employment." Right? So it really comes down to your viewpoint, right? The big money players are able to see what I call the invisible money. Okay? You walk past it every day. You drive past it every day and you discard it. Why? Because it's not visible. Okay? Most people need to see something for it to exist. Do you ever think of maybe doing it the other way around? Okay, look at where I gave you examples in the past, right? When Pinterest was born 12 years ago, as an example, or Uber or Instagram, they did, it didn't exist for a lot of people. But the guys at Instagram, they saw what others couldn't see. You could have been the guy that discovered Instagram, but you weren't, right? So this is the thing with money, and this is the thing with real estate. You need to be able to see what others don't see. Because if everybody can see it, guess what? There's probably no money to be made from it. Because again, if you have a look at what the masses do, unfortunately, they don't have the results that you and I probably want. So why would you have their viewpoint, adopt their viewpoint and play based on what they see, right? Because if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. All right. So those are the 4 factors that I do not navigate from when it comes to investing, okay? Employment, population, existing infrastructure, and planned infrastructure. The other most important thing is you need to have a plan. All right, I'm going to spend a few minutes on this, right? But you need to have a plan in place. How do you know when you hit a goal if you don't know what the goal is? What is it that you're looking to achieving? The first question I ask anybody that comes and sees me is this: what is it that you are looking to achieve? Now, if you can't answer that question, I probably won't help you, because I actually can't help you. And I could give you anything, and you'll just take it because you won't know if it'll take you closer or further away from what it is that you're after. And this is the thing. A lot of people go buy real estate just for the sake of buying real estate, but they have no idea how to turn that real estate into cash, how to turn it into passive income. They have no exit strategy because they have no plan. It's like a financial GPS, right? I mean, you do this in every other area of your life. I don't know why we don't look at it in real estate, right? If you came to my office right now, you wouldn't know where we are. So you start from your home, you punch in my office, which is where you're looking to get to. What you're looking to achieve is to get to my office. You start from your home, and you follow the blue line on your phone or on your, on your car GPS, and you get to my office. Now, if you follow that line, are you surprised when you get to my office? Of course not. You expect it to get there, and God willing, you get there. And probably in the time frame that it said you would get there in at the start. Now, guys, this is financial planning. There's a start and there's an end. And there's that road in between, which is the plan. The goal is to get to a certain financial figure, whether it be a cash flow goal or something else. And you follow the path to get there. Sometimes you slow down, sometimes you speed up, sometimes if the road's blocked, you may have to deviate. But the destination never changes. Okay, sometimes the path and the road does. Very important, okay? If you don't have that in place, you won't create any wealth because you will not know what wealth looks like. All right? So have a start, have a middle, and an end. Always start with the end in mind, okay? What is it that you're looking to achieve? It's actually very, very simple to create wealth if you know what you're wanting to achieve, what you're looking to achieve. Very simple, okay? Real estate, like most things in life, has a certain set of principles and laws and patterns, okay? And if you understand that, you won't you won't get surprised where you end up financially. The only time you get surprised is when you don't know where you're going, right? Like driving a car. So have an exit strategy. This is what 94% of investors fail to do. They just go out there and buy and have no idea what they're doing, why they're buying, where they're buying, what they're buying, and how to get out. Because everything's got a start, a middle, and an end, all right? So this is the reason, too, why people on less income than you are probably doing better than you, all right? They've understood how to get their money to work for them, okay? They've got a goal in place. They've got a plan laid out. And they can take a little bit of money and turn it into a lot of money, all right? It's not that difficult. I mean, I've seen people, I won't mention any names, but we had a guy come in here last week, $700,000 household income, right? You can't live off that, but $700,000 worth of income, household income. When I looked at the person's finances, he's not doing any better than one of our clients on $85,000 a year. I know that sounds crazy, right? $700,000 brings a lot of expenses, believe me, right? And I can tell you right now, one of our clients we've got on $85,000 a year is doing better financially than the household that's doing $700,000 a year, okay? Because the one on $85,000 a year has learned to get their money to work for them so they don't have to work for money. That's the game. That's the trick. That's what you weren't taught in school. Okay, you were just taught to go out and work for money. Here at Wealth for Life, we teach you how to get your money to work for you. Imagine if your money worked as hard as you do. Where would your money end up? All right? So, guys, I'll leave you with that, okay? Keep in mind that, there's an investment strategy that we put together for all of our clients, okay? The first thing we do when you come and see us is, assuming that, you're in a position to do this and look at this, the first thing we look at is a plan, okay? And it's kind of like a game of snooker, all right? When you hit if you're teeing off on the white ball and you hit the red ball in the pocket, you need to understand where the white ball is going to end up and not just crash that red ball into the pocket, right? And I use that as an analogy because it's so true. Every move you make determines the next move, okay? And this is what a proper financial plan does. So when our clients are looking at investing in real estate, the only reason why you purchase the first property is so it'll let you buy the second one. The only reason why you purchase the second one is so it'll let you buy the third one, and so on and so on and so on. And we determine that up front. It's the only reason you invest is so that you can continue to invest until you hit your financial goal. And the exit part is actually quite easy. Okay, the hard bit is always getting you on the game, on the map, and getting started. So I'll probably run out of time to actually share this with you guys, but we've got a fantastic, what we call our blueprint to wealth model. Come in and have a chat to us. We will take you through that and show you what the next 20 years, next 5, 10, 15, 20 years look like. Because you know what? If you don't know where you're going to be financially in the next 10, 15, 20 years, you're not going to like where you're going to be financially in the next 5, 10, 15 years, all right? So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in on this glorious Wednesday night here in Melbourne. I've got to tell you, the weather's been really good to us, I think, in Melbourne. We're out in shorts on the weekend, so for those of you that complain about Melbourne's weather, it's been okay this year. So thank you so much, guys, for listening in. Give us a call on 1300 793 877 if you think we can help you. If you've gotten if you've gotten a lot of stuff out of tonight, hit us up on social media. Give us some feedback. We love hearing from you guys. And again, I want to thank all the staff that put this together. You guys get to see, an hour and 15 minutes of me talking to you, but you have no idea the amount of time and effort that goes into putting an event like this together. So to guys like Greg and Andrew and Dennis and all the staff here at Wealth for Life and beyond, thank you so much for making me look much better than I actually am. And hook us up on wealthforlife.com.au. Give us a call. I'll say this, guys. we are in the middle of, what most of us will probably see as the greatest hell that we've ever been in, right? But again, guys, it is your viewpoint. I have just as many success stories over here as there are tragedies over here, okay? It really just depends on which one you want to give attention to, all right? Because you know what? The one you give attention to is the one that you'll actually get. So thanks again, guys. Look forward to speaking to you soon.